Sure. Hi, everybody. My name is Jake Hoyle. I'm one of the vice presidents here at EB5AN. A little bit of background on myself. I was born and raised in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Went to Columbia University in New York, where I got a degree in economics and business management. I also studied a little bit of Mandarin Chinese while I was there. Graduated and spent a summer at Jefferies Middle Market Investment Bank on their fixed income sales and trading desk before moving to Credit Agricole, one of the largest commercial and investment banks in the world. And that was when I moved to EB5AN. So I know, some of us have joined more recently. I've been with the company for about 7 to 8 years now. Um, and so I've seen this regional center really grow from a company that maybe had 150 to 200 million in assets under management now to a regional center with nearly $1 billion in assets under management. So one of the primary reasons why I joined EB5AN back in early 2017 was I really believed in what Mike and Sam were doing, right? They were aiming to create a company that provided industry leading transparency to EB5 investors and structured safe and secure financial investments for EB5 investors from all over the world. There were a lot of poorly structured and risky projects that were raising a lot of money at that time. And Mike and Sam really saw an opportunity to penetrate the market, create high quality institutional level deals, and grab market share. And over the last 5 to 6 years, I think we've really seen that play out. And big part of why I joined the company was to help grow that initiative. Prior to joining EB5AN, I actually represented the United States at the Olympic Games on the Team USA fencing team. I'd always grown up fencing. I competed for Columbia University, and then graduated and was on the USA national team for many years and ultimately competed at the Olympic Games. There are a few key reasons why now is a good time for an EB5 investor to make an EB5 investment. One is definitely processing time. So with the EB5 Reform and Integrity Act that was passed in 2022, since then, we've seen processing times really drop for investors kind of across the board. And I-526E applications are being approved faster than I've ever seen in my 7 to 8 years of experience in the industry. Specifically in rural EB5 projects, many of our investors at EB5AN are receiving those I-526E approvals in 12 months or less, which is definitely better than pretty much any other time, I think, in EB5 history. Second, a good reason to invest now is visa availability. So particularly for investors born in China and India, right now there are set-aside visas available in rural high unemployment and infrastructure projects, and that really hasn't been the case since the early 2010s. So if visas available now, they're not going to be available forever, and so filing quickly and trying to grab one of those set-aside visas is definitely a good idea. Otherwise, the EB5 Regional Center program in general is the most stable that it's ever been. Back in the early 90s, when the Regional Center pilot program was put into place, it was just that, right? It was just a pilot program. Now in 2022, we have an actual law that was enacted by Congress. And so, many advantages come with that. EB5 investors are guaranteed adjudication under these rules through 2026. And there's no sunset coming in the next 6 to 12 months, which we've dealt with pretty much for the entire time the EB5 program has been in place, right? We have stability through 2027, which is really important for investors investing now. And a major key right now in EB5 is that since the EB5 Reform and Integrity Act was enacted, we have seen a flight to quality in EB5 projects across the board. So the industry has consolidated. Now there are fewer EB5 regional centers out there raising capital, but those EB5 regional centers are stronger and prioritizing safe deals. I think one thing that really sets EB5AN apart from other regional centers in the EB5 industry is our team. So we have a large team of very experienced professionals who are EB5 industry veterans. We have lawyers, MBAs, people who have worked collectively with thousands and thousands of EB5 investors since the very beginning of the EB5 program. And that just allows us to provide a deep knowledge of the EB5 program and draw on years and years of experience across different variations of the regulations and the program itself, and just ensure successful outcomes on the immigration and the financial side. Another thing that really sets EB5AN apart is that we are definitely an industry leader in terms of educating the market. So we put an incredible amount of time, effort, and money into publishing blog posts, YouTube videos, and other educational content to make sure that any EB5 stakeholder is up to date and educated on any new developments in the program. And that just really helps our company reach a lot of different investors and developers in the country. And through our outreach and through our very large presence, we are in touch with a lot of potential EB5 projects. So we have developers and potential project sponsors reaching out to us all the time to get educated on EB5, to see if EB5 would potentially work for their projects. And as a result, we draw from an immense pool of potential projects when we go to select our deals. I think that's something that is just a huge advantage for EB5AN compared to other regional centers. It's just a sheer number of deals that we evaluate when we go to select our projects. So something else that really sets EB5AN apart is our institutional knowledge on the financial side, right? So any EB5 investor making one of these investments obviously is doing so primarily for the immigration benefit, but this is also a financial investment, right? And at the end of the day, you want to get your green card, but you also want to get your $800,000 back. So you want to work with a team that is experienced in selecting deals and investing in projects, right? And so our team is extremely experienced across the board. Our managing partners met at the Boston Consulting Group, which is one of the largest management consulting companies in the world. Mike was at AEA, a large private equity firm in New York. I came from Credit Agricole, one of the largest commercial and investment banks in the world. We have, Ahmed on our team, who is a former practicing immigration attorney at Fragaman, and many of our team members have worked at other regional centers evaluating potential investments as well. So when we structure our deals and we put together an offering, we're drawing from multiple different sets of experiences in very high caliber firms to structure the safest investment that we can. On the project side, transparency is key for any investor to be able to evaluate what the regional center is telling them, right? Every EB5 regional center has an offering. Every offering has a private placement memorandum, a business plan, right? But where the transparency comes in is when an investor goes to evaluate those documents, right? You read the PPM, but you want to know what exactly is that PPM telling you. PPM tells you there's a repayment guarantee maybe. Okay, well, how valuable is that repayment guarantee? You got to dig one level deeper and look at the entity maybe that's actually backing it. And you're going to want to see financial statements of that entity, right? Maybe the PPM is telling you that your investment's secured by a mortgage. Okay, what exactly is that mortgage on, right? What land is being provided as collateral, and how much is that land worth? You want to dig again down and see those documents. Maybe there's a pledge, right, of the project as a whole. Well, what's the project worth? And if you're seeing an estimate of value, how did you get to that number? What assumptions are you making, right? And so to answer all those questions, you're going to need transparency from the regional center that you're working with. And EB5AN really makes an effort to provide all of that information to every EB5 investor across all of our deals. But generally, something else to consider is transparency when you go to engage your immigration attorney, okay? So it's key to ensure that your immigration attorney is not related to the regional center, and as an investor that you're free to engage any immigration attorney you want. You might get a recommendation for an attorney from different stakeholders, but you want to ensure that ultimately you're free to engage any attorney that you select. And that's because at the end of the day, your immigration attorney is representing you with respect to your application, and you want to ensure that they're completely independent from anyone else involved in the process. One key thing to think about when making an EB5 investment is to select an EB5 project that has an I-956F project approval and has either already created all EB5 jobs or has a clear path to creating those jobs. So nobody would make an EB5 investment in any of these projects if they weren't going to get the immigration benefit, right? That's really the only reason that we're even talking about this. And so to ensure that immigration success, the government basically can look at a project and pre-approve it. And you can reduce your own immigration risk and insulate it to only your personal details and your source of funds by selecting a project that already has that approval. To remove your conditions on your green card, you're going to need to demonstrate that your investment created 10 jobs. And so you want to be in a project that has either already met that requirement or will soon do so in the future. So I think that's the number one consideration when looking at projects. Number two would be the track record of the regional center that you're investing with. Take a look at the regional center. How long have they been in the EB5 industry? How many projects have they done? And have they had any failed projects? Of course, here at EB5AN, we've been in the industry for over a decade, never had a single project fail, never lost a single dollar of investor capital, and never had any of our EB5 investors denied for a project purpose. So those are the two main things I would focus on if I were an investor in EB5 today.